drove downtown to pick me up because I ran away from my friend's house. I'm now in the car with her and she's calling the police.
It was supposed to be a completely normal Friday. Me and my best friend, Jason, had been planning the sleepover for weeks. We're 13, so a sleepover usually just means staying up way too late playing video games, eating junk food, and laughing at stupid memes until our eyes burn. I got to Jason's house around 6 p.m. His parents, Mr. and Mrs. Vance, were great. They made us huge pepperoni pizza, joked around with us, and then went upstairs to watch a movie. Jason's older sister, Chloe, was in her room doing her homework. Everything felt totally normal, felt safe. By midnight, Jason and I were exhausted. We turned off the console, threw our sleeping bags onto the floor of his bedroom, and talked for a little bit about soccer tryouts next week. Within 10 minutes, Jason was snoring. I laughed a little, pulled my blanket over my shoulders, and closed my eyes. I thought we were just having a regular weekend. I had no idea that would be the last normal night of my life. I woke up in pitch black. You know that feeling when you wake up and you instantly know something is wrong, but you don't know what it is? The air in the room felt freezing cold. My skin was covered in goosebumps. I reached out my hand in the dark to tap Jason's shoulder to ask him if he'd turn the AC down. But my hand just hit the hardwood floor. I blinked, waited for my eyes to adjust to the shadows. Jason's sleeping bag was completely empty. It was unzipped, flattened out, like he'd just gotten up to use the bathroom. I sat up, whispering, "Yo, you awake?" Nothing, just the heavy, suffocating silence of the house at 3 a.m. in the morning. I waited a bit, thinking he'd come back upstairs, but after 3 minutes of total silence, a weird knot started forming in my stomach. I decided to go look for him. Maybe he'd went downstairs to get a glass of water. I tiptoed out of his room and stepped onto the landing. The hallway was completely dark. Usually his parents left the bathroom light on, but tonight it was pitch black. I crept toward the top of the stairs, gripping the wooden railing so tightly my knuckles turned white. As I looked down into the foyer, I noticed a faint, shifting light coming from the living room. It wasn't a normal light. It was pale, flickering like the glow of a television screen left on a static channel. And then I saw it. At the bottom of the stairs, right where the hallway opens up into a living room, there was a shape. It was a tall figure, too tall. It had to be at least 7.5 feet, maybe 8 feet tall, silhouetted against that pale, flickering light. It was standing perfectly still, facing away from me, looking toward the back of the house. My heart hammered against my ribs so loudly I was terrified that the thing would hear it. I choked back a gasp, freezing mid-step on the stairs. At first I thought it was just Jason's dad. Maybe he had gotten up to check a noise, but as my eyes strained against the gloom, the proportions looked all wrong. The arms seemed too long, hanging loosely at its sides, and it wasn't moving, it wasn't breathing. It was just a towering, jagged shadow cutting through the pale static light. I wanted to call out. I wanted to say, "Mr. Vance," but the words caught in my throat like dry sand. Every instinct in my body was screaming at me to run, to hide, to climb back into that bedroom and lock the door, but I didn't. I don't know why. Maybe I was just paralyzed by fear. Then the figure slowly, apologizingly began to turn its head. I didn't wait to see its face. I shrank back into the shadows of the staircase, pressing my back against the wall, holding my breath until my lungs burned. I waited for the sound of heavy footsteps coming up the stairs. I waited for it to find me, but the footsteps never came. Instead, I heard the faint, distinct sound of the sliding glass back door in the kitchen opening, and then silence again. The figure was gone. It had gone outside. A terrible, sickening thought washed over me. Where was Jason? Where was his family? What if that thing was out there with them? I crept down the rest of the stairs, my legs shaking so badly I could barely keep my balance. I walked past the living room. The TV wasn't on static. It was completely turned off. I don't even know what that light was. I made my way into the kitchen. The sliding glass door leading to the backyard was wide open. A cold night breeze was blowing into the house, making the vertical blinds chatter against each other. I stepped up to the doorway, looking out onto the lawn. The moon was bright tonight, casting a pale silver glow over the entire yard. And that's when I saw them. They were all out there. Mr. and Mrs. Vance, Chloe, and even Jason. They were lying on the grass. They all had big, bloody claw marks across their bodies. I took one step onto the wooden deck, tears blurring my vision. "Jason," I whispered. "Jason, please wake up." But as I got closer, I saw the pale moonlight hitting Jason's face. His eyes were wide open, staring blankly up at the stars. They were just empty. A heavy wave of nausea hit me. I staggered backward, trying not to vomit, my eyes darting around the dark perimeter of the yard. And then I looked back at the sliding glass door I had just walked out of. It was standing inside the house, right in the doorway. The tall, dark figure. It was framed perfectly against the kitchen light now. All I could see of its face were two small, completely black eyes. It was staring directly at me. It took one slow, deliberate step out into the deck. I ran. I ran as fast as I could toward the side gate of the backyard, slammed my body against the wooden latch, and burst out onto the street. I didn't look back. I just ran as fast as my bare feet could hit the asphalt. I could hear my own frantic breathing echoing in my ears. I ran for blocks, miles after miles, until the houses turned into commercial buildings, and I finally hit the downtown area. My chest felt like it was going to explode. My feet were bleeding. I ducked behind this dumpster, pulled out my phone out of my pocket, and called my mom. I screamed into the phone, telling her she had to come get me, that something happened at Jason's house, that they were all gone. She told me to stay put and that she was driving as fast as she could. So now I'm just waiting. It's completely quiet downtown. Too quiet. I don't know why that thing got Jason and his family, but not me. I'll never know what that thing was, but I hope I never see it again. I hope it's not coming after me. That night will haunt me for the rest of my life. I don't know how I got out of there alive.